You can't stop this chairlift, Mr. Harrison. The board's decision is final. Those were the exact words HOA President Laura Mitchell bellowed at me, standing in my front yard, as a young couple grinned from the chairlift gliding right over my roof. She thought her authority was ironclad, but she had no idea who she was up against, a retired audio engineer with the know-how to turn their million-dollar project into a laughingstock. How did I transform a nightmare into America's most dreaded chairlift? That's what I'm about to share. My name's DeVYD Harrison. After 35 years crafting sound effects for Hollywood's blockbuster action movies, I retired in 2020 with 2 Oscar nods and enough SAVYNGS to snag my dream home, a timber cabin in Cedar Hollow, Colorado. This wasn't just any cabin. Built from hand-hewn Douglas fir, it sat on 3 pristine acres with jaw-dropping views of Mount Elbert. The stone fireplace, a 6-week labor of love by a master mason, and custom windows designed to catch the sunrise's glow made it special. I'd spent decades in soundproof studios, bringing other people's dreams to life. Now, I had my slice of quiet paradise. My wife, Emily, who'd endured my late nights and tight deadlines, adored the raised garden beds. Her worsening rheumatoid arthritis made gardening her sanctuary. "This is where I'll heal," she said the day we moved in. The community seemed perfect, a blend of retirees and vacation homeowners who cherished peace and nature. The HOA was reasonable at first, focused on road upkeep and maintaining the rustic vibe. I pored over the covenants, every line, and saw nothing about future developments or airspace rights, nothing hinting our haven could be breached. For 2 years, we lived our dream. I set up a workshop to restore vintage audio gear. Emily's garden thrived, and we hosted our grown kids for holidays in a home we'd earned. Then Laura Mitchell arrived, a former resort developer from Vail. She wormed her way onto the HOA board and, within 6 months, took the presidency. Trouble brewed when I got back from VY, citing my ailing sister in Boulder. Survey stakes with orange tape slashed across my land, no notice, no explanation, just strangers trespassing while I was gone. At the HOA office, Laura's assistant dodged my questions. "Talk to Mrs. Mitchell," she mumbled, eyes down. When Laura finally called, her tone was breezy. "Just preliminary planning for a winter recreation upgrade. Nothing to fret about yet." But I fretted, especially as construction gear rolled into the community lodge: concrete molds, steel cables, heavy machinery. A worker let slip, chairlift installation, set for completion before snow hits. The truth hit at a Tuesday morning meeting, scheduled when most residents worked. I skipped a doctor's VY sit to attend, joining just 8 of 70 homeowners. Laura unveiled renderings of Cedar Hollow's exciting new amenity, a chairlift linking the North Ridge to the South Slope, slicing through the community's heart, right over my cabin. "This'll boost winter access and property values," she chirped, like a saleswoman. When I objected, "This crosses my home, and I got no notice. The covenants don't allow this," she slid over a document. Section 37, Paragraph C. Easement rights for community improvements. Letters went out in April. Check your mail. No letter ever came. I knew that paragraph was slipped into last year's clarifying update. My neighbor, Ed Carver, a retired judge, whispered as I left, "This stinks. She's treating this place like her fiefdom. Watch out, her husband's firm is building it, and her sister's on the county board." I didn't dawdle. I hired Paul Grayson, a top Colorado property rights lawyer. His take? Grim. They've exploited a legal loophole. That easement's vague enough to stretch, and courts often side with HOAs if it benefits most. We filed an emergency injunction to pause construction for impact studies. The judge later revealed as a golf pal of Laura's sister denied it in 48 hours, ruling no imminent harm, since the lift wouldn't touch my land. Construction sped up. Concrete towers rose overnight, steel beams arrived, and they felled 200-year-old spruces shielding my property. County complaints about off-hours work and environmental damage went nowhere. Inspectors bailed on VY sits. One honest official hinted, "Check the permits. What's built doesn't match what's approved." He was right. Plans promised 50-foot clearance. Reality gave me 20 feet close enough to peer into our skylight. Back in court, the same judge brushed it off as minor tweaks. Every avenue, county, state, Media hit dead ends. Laura's connections ran deep. Legal fees drained our SAVYNGS. Emily's arthritis flared under the stress. I found her crying in her ruined garden, overrun by workers. They've rigged the system, I told her. But there's another way. On a warm October day, splitting wood, I saw Laura's SUV roll up. She stepped out in a sharp suit, trailing the young Evans couple testing the nearly finished lift. They waved, oblivious to their intrusion. "Mr. Harrison," Laura called. "Let's talk finishing touches for next week's opening." "There's nothing to talk about," I said, arms crossed. "This shouldn't be here." She waved it off. "It's here, transforming Cedar Hollow. Progress has small costs. It's turned my home into a zoo," I shot back. She offered an envelope landscaping credits, lift passes, fee cuts. I didn't touch it. I want my piece back. Her smile vanished. "That's off the table. It opens Saturday." The Evanses overhead squirmed as I snapped. "You can't steamroll people's lives." She smirked. "All procedures were followed. Maybe attend meetings instead of tinkering in your shed." I lost it. "This isn't progress, it's a violation." Her eyes narrowed. "Adapt, or maybe Cedar Hollow isn't for you." She strode off. "It's over," she tossed back. "Not even close," I yelled. Conventional fights failed. Time for my expertise. Sound effects aren't just noise theory emotion. A perfect sound can terrify more than any sight. With top-tier gear directional mics, mixing boards, weatherproof speakers, I hatched a plan. I wouldn't wreck the lift. I'd make it unrideable. I recorded its hum, then layered in subtle mechanical failure sounds. Creaking metal, grinding bearings, whining cables synced to wind, and subaudible unease. Directional speakers targeted riders overhead, undetectable elsewhere. Randomized, it'd seem real. I tested it after hours, Emily triggering sequences. Even knowing it was fake, I gripped the bar, heart pounding. Opening day came with fanfare dignitaries, snacks, a photographer. I waited on my deck. After 2 normal runs, I unleashed the first sequence. Riders froze mid-ride, clutching bars, pointing at towers. By the 4th run, panicked passengers demanded checks. A 5th run emergency stop by an ex-engineer hearing bearing failure left 27 stranded for hours. Laura fumed, glaring from the evacuation line. Next day, after fruitless inspections, ridership halved. I kept the sounds random, sometimes silent, sometimes bone-chilling. A TikTok of a teen's freakout went viral, forums buzzed, and the haunted chairlift was born. Laura threw money at IT engineers, audio experts, security. Nothing found my hidden system. Costs soared. Maintenance, insurance, lost revenue. She tried confidence rides. One ended with a board member's wife sobbing over my roof. She confronted me with an acoustic expert. "We know it's you," she spat. "Your sound effects past isn't secret." I played dumb. "People only hear it over my land." Coincidence. She demanded to monitor my property. "Got a warrant?" I asked. "Not yet," she hissed. "Then you're trespassing." She threatened a lawsuit. "You'd need proof," I said. They left empty-handed. I dialed back the frequency, up the dread. The HOA slapped on fees to cover losses, sparking outrage. At a packed meeting, Ed exposed the due law $127,000 in unplanned costs. "This lift's a bust," he roared. A no-confidence vote ousted Laura's board. Ed took over, digging into bypassed permits and shady deals. Investigations piled on, suspending the lift mid-season. An audit uncovered due law $1.2 million in losses, double the budget. Ed met me privately. "We know what you did. No proof, but we know." I stayed silent. "If the noises stop, we can reroute it," he offered. "I've always backed smart development," I said, "with setbacks." Days later, the board planned a bypass. The sounds vanished. By next winter, the lift curved 200 feet from homes. Laura and her cronies sold out and left. New bylaws demanded votes for big projects. Emily's garden bloomed, our home healed. At a solstice party, Ed toasted resilience, nodding my way. The haunted chairlift became folklore. I never spilled my secret, just smiled. One speaker stays hidden by my property line and used, but there. Trust is nice, but readiness is better.